Mommy. Is that the first page?
Mine?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. You had something up. Oh, that's what it was.
Diane. I'm looking for those stats on marketing to Mets versus have-nots.
Oh, in terms of the ratios?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
it's
we're live
51
right
and
now.
12 to 2.
We're live.
That's what I'm sorry.
Like, we're on YouTube right now, live. Awesome.
Now, the only thing,
Like now?
you know, we have this now so that the recording is recording this,
Okay.
but sometimes I want it to record you in the classroom.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Can I show you
On
something?
what, the website she gave us yesterday?
You
On
can click
YouTube?
on this,
Yeah, the color.
This
KW
word
Atlanta
fade.
Perimeter.
then
Oh,
it
So when you subscribe
switches.
to it, you'll get
So
notifications
I'm
when
click
it goes
fade,
live.
and now this is what's being
What is
recorded.
it? On YouTube?
But when
KW Perimeter.
I thought she gave us a newbie.
now when you're seeing it,
Wow.
it was just,
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
I don't want the whole thing to be
Jesus
just about.
Because it's stagnant. So, yeah, you can just leave that. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. And when I change it, I can fade in and fade out.
perfect.
This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
per
The red book,
year.
yes. And it's opportunities to do a transaction, no guarantees.
Okay.
Those are the numbers.
Okay.
But it clearly, 50 to 1, I don't think so, you know,
Right.
so points to, I'm gonna go do. So Mia Hanna, who's on our ALC, is teaching our second session of Ignite, Build Your Business, Focus on Database, and oh, you're gonna love it. All right, thank
Thanks.
you.
Good luck at the doctor.
Thank you so much.
And please remind her to come and, at the end of class, Diane, to come
Yes.
at the end of class. Okay. Thanks so
Okay.
much. All right. Okay, you guys. First of all, let me ask a question. Is everybody here new
Yes.
in the
Yes.
business? Okay. And did you, so you just got your license. What kind of training have you done? Who's been through FMLS training?
One of them. Yeah. the
One of
basics.
them. Okay. You have not, Chanel?
No, I was telling the ladies that I've been licensed since 2006.
Okay.
So I was inactive
Okay.
for a very long time. And so
Okay.
I'm just getting back into the business.
Okay.
I did do some classes at Barney Fletcher.
Okay.
Like continuing ed classes,
Got it.
but I mean.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just trying to get an idea of my audience here. My name is Mia Hanna. I have been in this business for 15 years now. I started with this office and remain at this office. I'm pretty loyal to this office. And in particular, I believe in Keller Williams. Before I got into this business, I was in sales. Sales management, sales training, and I'm kind of a teacher by nature. And so because I had been in sales training, I knew that I didn't know a lot. And so I interview, this is crazy, whenever I tell somebody this, especially if they're new, they, it's okay. I interviewed 17 brokers before I picked Keller Williams. And one of the things, and this was back when it was Keller Who, nobody knew who Keller Williams was. And I had been in Atlanta just for a couple of years at that point. And I actually, the only thing that made me even go to Keller Williams to talk to them was that when I was interviewing all these other agents, at the time, it was Harry Norman and Prudential and Jenny Pruitt and, all the people that were around, or companies that were around 15 years ago, they kept saying, now, have you gone over to Keller Williams? And you don't want to go there. That's multi-level. And it's, and I mean, They were doing everything they could
Keep you away.
to keep me away from it. So at the very end of, I guess it was at the 15th broker, I finally went, all right, I got to go check out Keller Williams, find out what that's all about. And Keller Williams at the time, and still is, a training haven. There's something every day, and there's so many tools that you can use, and I knew that I needed those tools. Again, I guess because of my background as a sales trainer. And so that's why I interviewed 2 different brokers with Keller Williams, and I ended up coming with the Atlanta Perimeter office, and I have not regretted it. And I would say, somebody asked me, what is the thing that you did in the very beginning that you're glad that you did, and you were doing it all over again? What would that be? And it's the training that I did. I was in a class every day. I mean, for probably the first couple of months. Now, I don't have children. I wasn't married. So it's a little bit different, I think, with different lifestyles. But for me, and I lived like 2 minutes from the office, and so it just worked for me. But I just, I stuffed as much as I could into my head. And I had been in sales in the Atlanta area for about 17 years before that. So I had a database. I had people that I knew in Atlanta because I had been here for a while. And so I started immediately marketing to my database, and I had my first opportunity for a listing presentation about 2 weeks in to my career. And I got to tell you, I hadn't done a listing presentation, a formal listing presentation yet. I had done nothing. And this was at the time, it was a pretty big deal. It was like a $450,000 listing. And it was do you guys know Vinings Estates?
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, the day before I got the phone call for the opportunity, I had sat through a class on how to do CMAs, which actually is a class that I used to teach in Ignite. And I flipped over to this one because this one to me is fun. CMA is a very, very important class. Don't miss that one. But I sat through a class on how to do CMAs, and I was loaded for bear when I did not have a listing presentation. I didn't go in there to tell them how great and wonderful I was. I just went in there with like the most kick-ass CMA you could ever ask for. And I'm being taped, I probably shouldn't have cussed. But that was, and I got it, and I got it. I got it because I knew my numbers when I went in there. Now, as it happened, I was sitting with 2, I didn't know this going into it, but the 2 owners, the husband and wife, were engineers. So me going in with numbers was a beautiful thing. But anyway, this is all to say that one class, and there will be several classes that'll do this for you, a light bulb will go off, and that one class enabled me to go and get my very first piece of business. So, just a little story about that. So today what we're going to talk about is building your business. And I think the most important, okay, now I don't even know how to switch, okay, where's the pointer thing that
You mean
I need
to advance?
yeah,
Let me come up here.
sorry,
Yeah, that's okay.
is it this?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
Yes, it's gonna be a second.
What am I doing?
yeah, you're actually pointing where you're not at the screen. Are you not getting any? Nice.
Nothing's happening.
Oh, let me give it a whirl. we wore it out at staff's meeting.
Okay.
Wait a minute, this,
I'm doing something.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this is functioning.
So what is the, how do I, do here would be this one?
Hmm,
So we need to.
Oh, here.
To watch like the team meetings and everything that goes on.
and say,
Okay.
let me
They
take
have some different meetings
this over
during the
here,
week.
Okay.
and then,
Classes or educational or information services.
I think,
They always take them, or mostly always take them, so you can always get back and look at them. It's really cool.
Maybe, is this make it smaller?
Yes.
And get
Okay.
it out of
You're
the
welcome.
screen, let me see, get it out of full.
let's see. I am not efficient.
Okay.
Well, let's see. We don't want it in slideshow, let's just put it no. Okay. Advancing here, but what we could do is ditch this and cursor. Just put this over here. I apologize.
All right. Let's do it that way.
Let me see.
Oh, no, that's doing it.
Okay.
Okay, so,
This is loose, so,
okay.
oh, here's tape. It's like a piece of tape.
Okay.
There's gotta be a way, but,
Okay, so, we're gonna start, today what we're gonna talk about is your database, how to add to your database, how to call your database, and how to classify your database, and then how to market and regenerate with your database. And the statement that I've got right here is about, as it's actually in the book, and it is a very true statement, the size of your database will determine the size of your bank account. That is absolutely true. One of the things that I do, and I'll show you guys this a little bit later, is that I actually do a really good newsletter, and I sell it to other real estate agents to use. So I'm familiar with the size of people's databases. And it is in direct proportion how much business they do. Because I'm able to get in there and look at this stuff. It is in direct proportion, the amount and size of their business to the amount and size of their database. So, let's talk about databases for a second. You all have got your databases, correct? You've got it into a CRM. Are they
well,
putting it
we're still in process. Everybody's working on it.
Okay, are they putting it into command?
They're going to put it into command, not Edge.
Okay, so right now it is in
On
an
a
Excel
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet. Okay, perfect. So, tell me something. Do you know how many people you've got in your database?
I'm still cleaning mine. We downloaded all of my contacts, so I have to go through and get like doctors' office numbers and stuff cleaned
Okay.
out. So I'm thinking about 120
Okay,
right now.
okay. What about you?
Right now it's about 386.
Okay, that's a nice size.
I'm between 150 and 300.
150 and 300?
And I'm cleaning.
Okay, what about you?
125.
125?
I have no idea. I literally have like 13,000 people in my contacts, and I've got to go through.
Okay. Okay. This is just information for me, so I kind of know how to talk to you. So one of the goals is going to be for you all to add to your database on a very consistent basis. And so let's talk about, when we're talking about database, it's a living record, and it is your number one tool to manage your relationships. When you're talking to, and this is how many of you have used a CRM before?
A little.
Kind of.
Okay. So your database or a CRM, what it actually does is, and Command will do all of this when it rolls out in total. Every communication that you have with somebody in your database will go into the contact management program. Every email that you have, there'll be a record of the emails. When you have somebody from your database in a transaction, the transaction will be held in that CRM in Command. Any marketing piece that you send out will be held in that CRM. It really is kind of the command center,
Motherboard.
yeah, for your database. And it's very important, and I'm going to say this, and you'll hear me say this a couple of times, do as I say, not as I do. You need to tend it. You need to keep it up to date. I am better at this sometimes than I am at others. When I get really busy, I tend to not keep it up to date as much, and I regret it every time. And because then in the times when I'm not busy, you know, that's when I need to go into my database and I need to, you know, go through it and call and market and, you know, do all of these things that, you know, are lead generation. I mean, that you really need to have it well tended to use it as a lead generation tool. And I've got your goal be top of mind. I'll get into that a little bit. I'll get back into that. So the steps to creating your database, you want to gather. We're going to talk about the different ways to gather. You want to classify, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today for your homework. And then you want to campaign. That's the fun stuff. That's the marketing. You look like you have a question. Do you have a question? No? Okay. So, and to keep gathering and building, what I mean by that is that you, it never stops. And if you stop, you're going to become stagnant. And again, this is do as I say, not as I do. I've been on that end. I've been on the end where I got stagnant because I wasn't consistently adding people to my database. Remember, we're transactional. Yes, we're also relationship. But the bottom line is, you know, most people are not going to, you know, sell and buy a house. Hi there.
Hi.
Within, you know, I mean, once every 2 years. It's going to be a longer, so you need to keep filling that database up because it's a numbers game, you guys. It's a total numbers game. So, which is why I'm saying the size of the database is the most important piece. All right, ways to gather. Oh, information to gather. Oh, okay, so this is, can you close that door?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, information to gather. Now,
Mia, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
If there's something on the slide that it's easier to take a picture of than to write down, can we take pictures of it?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take pictures of it, and you guys, I'm very informal. Stop me and ask me questions as we go. So I like that give and take stuff. So, all right, so is this everything that she has asked you to gather?
No.
Okay.
There's a couple extra things.
A couple of extra things. Okay, well, let's talk about those then. Obviously, the name. Why is it important to get the address? In a day and age where we all communicate by email.
Oh, I love that. No, I love that because it's
Huh?
kind of like
Is this in our book? Or
No.
like a
Probably
hidden
not.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing my own gig.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So yes, please take pictures.
Yeah.
So, and Erica, are you new in the business? Totally new? or-
Yeah, a couple of months started.
Okay.
Started the
Okay,
beginning of
and
the
do
year.
you have your database in, I mean, do you have it gathered, or do you have a spreadsheet?
Not really. No, I haven't started doing that.
Okay,
No.
all right. So that's what we're talking about today, is your database.
Okay.
And because that is your number one tool.
Right.
Okay? So this is the information that you want to gather, and you want to start working on this right away, because this is how you all are going to lead generate. This is how you all are going to get your very first piece of business. Okay? So why is the address important?
I like that. I love that.
Is it because
Listen to her. Yeah, listen to her.
Yes.
Very smart.
Thanks, Brad.
Is it because of
He'll stop into every class and say that.
command? We put in their address, and so it can give them snapshots of what's going on in their neighborhood.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
And
why.
keep them up to date with.
You want to
the
know where
trends
they
and-
live.
Yeah.
You want to know what neighborhood they're in, you know? Because there's a lot of things that I'm going to go through as far as campaigning to somebody and the different things that you can do that they're going to be very interested in. Who's not interested in the sales in their own neighborhood? Who's not interested in it? Everybody wants to know what's going on. And if at the very least they want to be the nosy neighbor and look at the pictures, you know? So this is why it's really important to get the address. The other reason that it's important to get the address, and when I go through the classifications, I'll further explain this, is that if you're going to do any kind of marketing in terms of mail, if you're going to send them a handwritten note, if you're going to send them a postcard, whatever you're going to send them, you need an address to do that. If you feel weird asking for a home address, which we can talk about scripting that out, you know, get their business address, you know, because it's actually my sister is a community association manager, which is like if you've got an HOA, this is the management company that manages the HOA. Well, you know, I know my sister's address, obviously, but all my marketing goes to her business address because there are, you know, 15 other community association managers that are there, and I've talked to her about taking my postcards and putting them on the bulletin board, you know, or at the very least leave them on the desk in her office or whatever. And I've gotten referrals from doing that. So, you know somebody at Coca-Cola, market to them at Coca-Cola. It's better to have their home address, frankly. I mean, depending on who you talk to, they'll have different opinions about that. But I always want to have their home address, but if I'm kind of weirded out about asking them about that or just...
You know, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Like my database is, because I'm a mom of 2 small children, I've been home for the past 10 years, is preschool, private school, and then I'm also a fitness instructor, gym. I went into the directory of all those places, and all their information is there, and I just put it in my database, like address, email address, so I don't even have to ask them. So if you have, you know, things like that, school, you know,
Right.
you go online and into the directory.
And we'll talk. We're actually going to talk about that at
Okay.
some point down here. Yeah, at some point.
So you
down.
don't even have to ask club, like, we're
Right.
CC members.
And
I just went on the
that's and when we
directory.
get into the classifications, we'll talk
Okay.
about that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you can do that. Now, you also have to be careful about
Right.
that. Like, I'm the president of my HOA, but I don't market to everybody in my neighborhood because that is,
Conflict of interest.
it's a conflict of interest and it's personal information that I have access to. And, you know, you have to be careful with that. So that's why the address is important. That was a very long-winded answer to that question. And then, of course, you want their email address. We'll talk a little bit more about that. You know, phone numbers that you can get. I always like to get a cell phone number. Social media, you know, what you may want to do is create class, you know, in all CRMs, you can personalize it, you know, and you can put Facebook and LinkedIn and whatever other social media you do, and you can put a check mark beside, you know, I'm linked with them on Facebook, I'm linked with them on LinkedIn, you know, all the social media that you use. Who uses what in here besides Facebook and LinkedIn?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Twitter.
So, and Twitter, do you do Twitter? Okay. I gotta get with it, I'm still not doing it.
I don't do any of it.
Oh. Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah. So we'll talk about that too, because for you, what you were saying earlier about the school, that'd be a really good thing for you to do.
I know.
So, so again, you know, just list the social media that you have and put a check mark beside whether you're linked with them or not. And then children, you know, it's great And again, I'm not fabulous with this because I'm not a family, I mean, I'm a single woman, I don't have kids, I don't have the contacts that you do at the schools and the, things like that. Most of my friends are, single. But my point here is, I do, when I'm working with somebody, I do get the children's names and I write down their ages, and you always have to pay attention to, when you write down their age, be sure and note the year.
Yeah.
Because that can get you into trouble.
Your 7-year-old is now a 17-year-old.
Exactly. So, and I'll tell you a little bit more about a couple things that I did with children. I've got a great picture to show you. And then pets. Pets are a big deal these days. I did my newsletter last month or the month before. I had, instead of the usual real estate pictures, it was during the month, it was take your dog to work day. So all the photographs had dogs in it, because everybody's into their pets. I think that's probably one of the number one things that you see on Facebook are videos of pets. So, I always try to note that. You want to know if they own or they rent. You're going to market to somebody that rents different than you're going to market to somebody that owns. And then, of course, birthdays. It's a great thing if you are a birthday person. If you like to send a card, that would be a beautiful thing. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. I always text. I refuse to say happy birthday on Facebook because, I don't know if you guys, my birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I never went back in there and looked at everybody that said happy birthday. 200 people say happy birthday to you. You can't look at all of that.
Yeah.
So I want to stand out, so I actually text a birthday picture and say happy birthday to somebody. That's the way I do it. But you may want to send a card. Of course, whatever hobbies they have. Again, if you're a personal trainer and you know people that work out and or are personal trainers, you might want to note that because you run this is a marketing thing. You run across a really great article about gyms and homes. You want to send it to all these people that are into fitness. And then always how you know them, how you met them. Always put that in there. I do that with everybody because you will forget. You'll forget. The people that you have in your database right now that you really know, not just the people that you met one time 5 years ago, but the people that you really know. That's great, but the people that you start adding, you're not going to remember. So if you met them at a networking meeting, you want to write that down, and you write down the date. If you met them if it was a referral from a friend, got this referral from my friend, and write down the date everything. And actually, when you're in a good CRM, when you write a note in there, it dates anyway. So. Any questions about this or any other ideas that you guys have for the information to gather? Okay?
I want to ask you a question. You said that you make newsletters every month and you sell them to real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
Is it different? You have different topics every month that you...
Yeah, and I'll show you guys a couple of samples of those.
Okay.
You don't have to go to the extent that I've gone to with this, but mine's a retirement vehicle. I'm actually building that business a little bit.
Oh, so you sell them?
I'm selling them to real estate agents. I bring Bill and
Love
Kathy
that.
Haas
Love
take
that.
my newsletter.
I love
So so they
Love your
so-
newsletters. I get
yeah.
that.
So we do that. So yeah, and I'll show you. And you don't, but especially in the beginning, you guys remember that red light, green light. You do not want to spend a lot of money until you're making money. So at some point you will get to a point. I did. It took me about 2 years, but I got to a point where I was like, if I'm going to be consistent about this, I've got to pay somebody else to do it. I can't do it. because you guys get busy, and marketing is the last thing that you end up, you should not spend a lot of time on it. So I pay somebody to do my postcards. I used to pay somebody to do my newsletter. But, my newsletter takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, but it's also now beginning to make money. So, but that's neither here nor there, and I'm not here to sell you guys my newsletter. I'm just saying that, and actually Command is going to have newsletters at some point. Now, every other Keller Williams agent's going to have the same newsletter, so I always recommend personalizing it. And we'll talk some more about that. Okay? Did I answer that question?
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, classifications. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent classifications. Now, how many people have read the book?
Not yet.
Okay. I recommend, and I didn't bring it, I recommend reading this book.
Okay.
And there's a new one coming out. I don't think it's out yet. But
Is it this one?
yes, that's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Start it.
And what, can I see that? And what I did with mine was I took mine to Kinko's and I actually had them cut the binding, and then I put it in
Oh, wow.
I put it in a spiral because it actually is it's got it's a workbook. I mean, it's something, it's a reference that I use. Not so much anymore, but I mean, I still go back to this. In fact, that stat that I was asking Stacy about before she left, I don't know if you all heard me, that stat is out of this book. But it talks about, the reason I was asking you that is a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, the fourth law, where are we? Never mind, it's been too much time ago. Okay, here's your book. All right. I'll come back to that. Okay, so this is the MREA classifications. Your METs, your haven't METs, and your referrals. Now you can classify, and I did in the very beginning, this is how I classified everybody. So the people that you are friends with in your children's schools, that's a MET. The people that are just in that group directory that you do not know, that's a haven't met.
Got it.
Okay? So your METs are your family, your friends, your neighbors, your former coworkers, schoolmates, people that you meet at networking events. This is pretty much everybody that you've got in your database right now. Well, except for the one that has over 1,000 in it. I'm guessing you don't know all of them. Those are your METs. The 125 that you have, those are probably your METs. Your haven't METs is, the neighborhood or the geographic farm. Again, here we go, the sports team mailing list, the house of worship rosters, club membership lists, LinkedIn contacts, social media. These are people that you might be connected to, but you haven't necessarily met. Now, the reason that the METs and haven't METs are important in the MREA book is that the way that you market to them is different, okay? And just FYI, with the way, this was the stat I was asking her about, I needed her to remind me of it. If you're marketing to haven't METs the way that they recommend, you are going to get one opportunity for every 50 touches. In your METs, you are going to get one opportunity for every, two opportunities for every 12 touches. So, who do you want to spend your money marketing to? Your METs. That's the strong part of your database. Okay? Referrals is another classification. Where is mine? Yeah. Referrals are another classification. In most cases, this is going to be your hot leads. The minute that somebody calls and says, I know somebody, my next door neighbor was talking about selling their house. Here's their name and number. That is a hot lead. You follow up on it immediately. Do not pass go. I mean, do it right now. Okay, those are your hottest leads. So that is another classification in MREA. Now, this is where I come off center a little bit. These are my classifications, and let me explain this to you. This is what I've cultivated over 15 years. I have my A list. And take a picture of this, you guys. I personally think this is a good way to do it. A list are your past clients and people that have referred to me. My B list are people that I know will most likely use me or refer to me. I've got people in my database that I've never sold or bought a house for them because they've been in the same place for 15 years, but they've referred 3 or 4 people to me. Those are important people. These first 2 classifications are people that I will spend money on marketing to. Everybody else is email marketing only. So when I say that I will spend money on, if I'm doing a pop buy, which we'll get into some of this later on, if I'm doing a pop buy or I do send postcards out once a month to probably about 100 people. They cost money. These postcards are about $1.80 each. And so I send those to people only in my A and my B list. Everybody else gets my newsletter. C list are all my other Mets, people that I know that are, their husband is a real estate agent, or their mother-in-law is a real estate agent, or people that you're just not totally sure that they're going to refer you, but you want to keep them in that debt. You want to keep them, aware. You want to keep your name consistently in front of them. There are people that I've got on my C list that get my newsletter. That I've got really good information in my newsletter. They read my newsletter every month, and I've never done business with them. Now, what is that gaining me? Nothing at the moment, but the minute that they run across somebody, because I know that they look at my newsletter, and they, do you know a real estate agent? I know my name's going to come up. Mm-hmm. So, and I've gotten leads, I've gotten referrals right after a newsletter has gone out. In fact, they'll reply to my newsletter. By the way, I know somebody. I'm going to give them your name or, whatever. So it's very important. That C list is actually important. At some point, somebody on the C list is probably going to work their way up to A or B. D list, everybody that's out of town. Remember, 25%, 20 to 30% referral fees. You meet somebody. My Aunt Jenny lives in North Carolina, and her daughter decided she wanted to buy a house in North Carolina. I called around. I interviewed 3 agents on the phone. I made the referral. I got a 25% referral fee. So that's why you want to keep up. Like if you've got relatives out of town, send them your newsletter, send them your emails, okay? Because you can make business off of them. When I stand up at my BNI group, which I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that, when I stand up at my BNI group, I probably about 2 or 3 times a year, I will remind them that just because I don't work Decatur. I don't know Decatur. That's a whole new, different world over there than where I live. And so but I know a couple of agents over there. If somebody says, I want to find something in Decatur, more often than not, I'm gonna refer them to another friend, and I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna make one phone call, and I'm gonna make 25% of the commission. Works for me. So that's why you want to keep your out-of-town people around. Your E-list are your have-not met. Your E-list are the people that, you know, well, again, LinkedIn, Facebook, computer leads, you know, from your website leads. Those are your have-not mets. A farming, geographic farm, that's a have-not met. I make that my E-list. I don't do a lot of have-not met marketing. I never have. I guess I do a little bit on social media. I'll do it. But I have that categorized as my E-list. The other classification that's really important, and this is what I was going to talk to you like about your school, the school contacts. If you know them through, you know, a specific school, make that one of your classifications and put that in there. Somebody might be B and whatever school. I've also marked who my family is. Sometimes you can forget that. Friends, you know, my work contacts, the school or sport, you know, if you're on a softball team and you know these people through softball, you want to put that in as a classification. If you met them at an open house, you could put that as a classification. Neighborhood, like everybody that's in my database that I do market to, I've got Weatherburn in there as a classification, and so they might be a B and Weatherburn. Business organization. I belong to a couple of different networking groups. I'm a member of BNI, which is business, and I think I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Yeah. So I am a member of BNI, which is Business Networking International. And it is what you call a closed networking group. How many of you all know the difference between a closed networking group and an open networking? Okay. Open networking group is Chamber of Commerce. Okay. You can go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and there could be, you know, in a room full of, you know, 100 people, there could be, you know, 10 real estate agents in there that go consistently. Usually not, but could be. There are also networking groups in different parts of town. Like there's all kinds of networking. What is that? Meetup? That's open networking. A closed networking group, there's BNI, there is PowerCore. Another one that I'm in is TIP. But that is one person per category. So in my BNI group, I have there's one CPA, one bookkeeper, one property and casualty insurance agent, one health insurance agent, one financial planner. You know, I've got a very strong home marketing group. So there's a window washer, a handyman, a painter, of course there's a mortgage banker in there. I've got a home inspection company in there. I've got all these different categories, and this is like my sales team. I give them referrals. I give them way more referrals than they give me because they want to know real estate agents, okay? But I give them a lot of referrals because they take care of my listings and they take care of my buyers. I rarely take a listing that something doesn't have to be done. And more often than not, I'm calling in one of these guys, I'm giving them a referral. It's kind of a giver's gain mentality. You don't worry about what you're getting. You just try to give as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And it works. I will tell you that I've been in BNI. I actually got my 7-year badge yesterday. And consistently, BNI has been 35% of my business.
Wow.
If I made $100,000 in a year, they were $35,000. If I made $200,000 in a year, they were $70,000. I mean, without fail. And I'll have to tell you, this is a slow year for me. I got off track because of a lot of reasons. And BNI is actually probably running at about, which is not good, but they're about 60% of my business right now. So 35% of my business consistently. So it is a commitment. You have to go once a week. It is a very, there's a format that every meeting goes by, but it's like having an extended sales force. You know, either they're going to buy or sell a home, or they're going to know somebody that's buying or selling a home, and they're going to refer that person to me. It works, you guys. But again, it's a commitment, and you do have to go. There's always attendance policies. Now, I'm going to invite each and every one of you to come and watch my BNI meeting one week. You are welcome to come. All you got to do is give me a phone call. But we have a great group, because mine's bigger. We've got about 35 people in our group right now. You're welcome to come and watch the way that it works. I think our lunches are $16. Mine is on Tuesdays at lunchtime, which is why I'm never here at the team meeting. It starts at 11:30, and it's at the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse on Haynes Bridge. But you're welcome to come as my guest and just kind of watch the way that it operates. I do need for you to call me so that I can, get it set up. But I recommend it. I think that's a real viable way of doing it. For me, it works really well because I'm not that real high huggy, person. I'm a lot more business, oriented. And so, and I don't have a networking group. I don't have children that go to schools and, sports teams and all of that. So this is a business environment, and it works for me. Mm-hmm. So again, you're invited to come. I did want to talk a little bit about that and I know that there's one that meets in here. Actually meets in this office in the morning. Most of them are in the morning, by the way. At 7:30.
Can I ask you, on Haynes Bridge, you said?
Uh-huh.
Does a lot of the business stem from that area then? Or is it just because it's over there? Someone's hosting it over there?
Well, no, it's going to attract, it's going to attract people that do business primarily in North Fulton.
Because that's like the area, my daughter goes to school at Haynes Bridge in Old Alabama, and I do a lot in Johns Creek and Alpharetta and like Cumming area. So when you said that, it just kind of sparked me.
And there's always groups starting up. Real estate agent is a core position, and it's hard to get in.
Oh yeah.
So
I know a very close friend of mine is in one of those groups, and she lives right off of Haynes Bridge.
Yeah.
And she's always told me about it. So when you said that, I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it works for me. I can't imagine Bill Haas going to. But then he's like positioned at Dunwoody Country Club.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just, it depends on what works for you. Something different works for everybody. How many of you all have done the DISC profile?
Your what?
The DISC profile, it's a personality kind of
I
test.
have not done that.
I think they make
What's the
They
website?
give you one here.
What's the website?
Yeah,
Do you have cards for us to contact you? You give us.
Oh yeah, I'll give you
Oh,
this.
the
Yeah, before, yeah.
You do
DISC
that with
profile,
Terry?
huh?
Yeah.
Do you do that with Terry?
No, usually with Diane or Stacey.
Oh, okay.
Initially.
Can you find
Ask
one?
them to do
Felicia,
one.
I think Felicia's
Ask
the
to
one
do
Find one
that.
online.
You
I'm
could
scared
find
of
one
what I find
online.
out.
It's just called a DISC profile.
TellyRobbins.com.
No, that's not DISC. No, it's DISC. Just Google it and
Yeah,
see.
okay.
They may charge you for it though. This is
Have
free.
you
Sure you
met
can
Terry?
look up
I think I'm
free
gonna do
ones.
that with her tomorrow, talk about it with her tomorrow.
It's like it's you know, it's 25 questions. Actually, maybe more than that. Do you remember how many questions it is?
It's just a series of questions. I have no idea. It could be 100.
Okay, no, it's not 100. But anyway, so what it does, so DISC is, what it stands for, D stands for driven, dominant, I is intuitive, friendly, S is safety,
I'm scared of it.
stays in the lines, you know, stays very in the lines. I have no S whatsoever.
Looks like they have free ones.
They have.
Oh, do they?
So if you go to TonyRobbins.com.
Oh, do they have a DISC
Yeah,
profile?
if you go to assessments,
I'm
there's
gonna try like a couple of them just so I can see if there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then C is
Tony, what?
organized and detailed. So going back to what I was saying about what works for me, most real estate agents, I would say 95% of real estate agents are either a DI or ID, meaning they're driven and friendly and intuitive and, you know, all of that. And then most of them do not have, they have no C whatsoever, which is the detailed analytical.
So I am an ISC, all very close to the same. D is the lowest one for me.
It's for me.
Yeah, yeah, D is,
Uh-huh.
okay. So I'm here to tell you that you can do, it doesn't matter what you are, you can make this work for you.
Yeah.
Again, mine is DIC, okay? I have a lot of C.
Don't say that out loud.
I have a ton of C, which you'll see as we get into this marketing, that I've got a lot of
We
C.
knew that the second you walked in.
Well, but that, I don't know if I want to know the answer to that question.
Isn't that organizing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but C, I gotta tell you all, that is my
Success.
success. I market that. I market how organized and systematic I am. That is my unique selling proposition. And I just got into another networking group, and I led with that, and I showed them something that I'm going to show you all, and they're all like, I mean, because they all know a ton. Who doesn't know a lot of real estate agents? And they're like, wow. And so as I'm sitting down and meeting with them, I'm going over in detail a couple of my systems and things, and that
the
is
real
what
estate
makes me
agents were in
different.
there?
So my point is that you can, it doesn't matter what you are. You can make it work for you. I'm sorry.
There was other real estate agents in that group that you were doing it to?
No, it's just that, you know, I mean, it's like I met with a guy that owns a bunch of office space. He's got a really good answering service that he sells. And so he knows a lot of real estate agents. In fact, he's got real estate agents that use his service. And so he knows a lot of them. And then I know an architect that's worked with all kinds of real estate agents. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And it was like he didn't even think about it until I brought it up. You know, God, they're not organized. And I remember very distinctly one time walking into, it was $1 million listing, it was in Roswell, and I walked in and I had my little book, I had my folder, and I had my book, and I walked in like this, and the agent that had been there before me, and I've got a Toyota Avalon, by the way, the agent that had been there before me rolled up in a Mercedes, and you know, she was very well known in the neighborhood, and you should have heard him describing how she got out of her car.
Oh, geez.
She had, like, see all these papers up there? She brings her book out and papers are sticking out all over it, and you know, she's like gathering all this stuff, and you know, she walks in.
She's got a creative mind.
So the way I am works for me. You know, her reputation helped her. I mean, you know, because she was well known in that particular neighborhood. But my point is that it doesn't matter what you are. There's always a way around it. S's have a little bit more. Real estate is scary for S's because
What
it's
is
not
the S?
consistent.
Systematic?
Yeah, well, S's are all about safety and staying in the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I have no S. It's below the line, below, like hitting chart. So, because it's, you know, real estate can be it can be kind of an up and down thing as markets come and go, and so you just gotta buy the faith, not the fear. Which happens to be a mantra, which I'll talk to you guys about. Okay, any questions on Mia's classifications? Did that help?
Yeah. That's really good.
Okay. Okay, so we talked about gathering your database. We talked about building your database. We talked about classifying your database. And I challenge you all to go into your Excel spreadsheet and that you now are putting together. Figure out what classifications you're going to use and go ahead and mark those in there. Put them in that Excel spreadsheet. And then that way, when you are, let's say that I would probably do a category. I would probably, call it a category, and then do the A, B, C, D, E, and then whatever other classifications you want to use. And then that way, you know how in Excel you can click on a column and it'll classify it by that column?
Mm-hmm.
So then all your A's will be at the top, all your B's will be, And remember, you can use more than one classification. I do. All my B and I's are also A's or B's or C's. But there's always B and I, so that I'll know about marketing to them. All right, so now we're going to talk about campaigning. So in the Millionaire Real Estate book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they talk about these 3 campaigns. The 8x8 is a series of 8 touches in 8 weeks. Everyone you connect with first goes into an 8x8. That is basically 1 touch a week for 8 weeks. It is a very good way to get your name top of mind with your database. Now, I do want to say something here. I'm one of these people, I'm very cognizant of, I don't want to over inundate somebody with, like, I wouldn't go to your database that you've got right now to put them in an 8x8.
Put what?
Put them in an 8x8. What I would do is have you all done anything with your database yet?
Kind of.
Just organizing it. I'm trying to get the emails.
Putting everybody I know in
So when you're trying to get the emails and all that, are you calling?
I'm calling people or texting them, and then also I'm trying to make sure that it's still, it's numbers in my phone that, I know these people, but I haven't called, just to make sure it's still their numbers and updated.
Okay. So here's what I will say about doing this with the database that you currently have. As you make if you call, let's say that you call, it would be a really great thing for you to follow up with a note with your business card. If you text, I would follow up with a note or a business card, or a note and business card, and most importantly, a phone call. And of all the things I'm talking to you all about, and here's the do as I say, not as I do, the most important thing you touch that there is a phone call. I am now making phone calls. because my business, has fallen off, and I'm kind of in, oh my God, I gotta get back on track mode. And so I realized that it's time to, by the faith, not the fear, and make phone calls.
And what do you say when you make a phone call?
Lots of different scripts for that.
Do you have an excuse to call, or you just say, hey, I'm just calling to let you know I'm not here if you have any business? Or are you saying, hey, I saw that,
No, I always have a reason to call.
okay.
I
So you always
always
like,
have a
I
reason.
saw you on the news the other night or something.
Yeah. You got a DUI? But no, what I would do for your first phone call, I would say I'm, I just got into real estate. I'm very excited about it. I'm trying to get my database up to date.
Okay.
Can I get this information from you? And we can follow up. You're going to learn a bunch of scripts as you go through this, and we can talk more about a script when we get towards the end of class. And I know you got just we'll break as you want to break right now. You guys are still good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So, but like when I meet somebody at BNI, so if a new guest comes in, I'll put them into an 8x8. I will do that. You just have to be careful when you're first starting out, and and there's a couple of different ways to do it. And again, we'll talk about the elements in a minute. 33 touch. Now, in the new MREA book, they're actually going to 36 touches. And I will never forget when I first read that, 33 touches, oh my God, I would kill somebody that reached out to me 33 times. I don't want to inundate them like that. You all, there are ways to do it that is not abusive to the information that you have, and we'll talk about that. But your METs, that's who you want to do your 33 touches with. 12 touches a year, that's for your have-not METs. That's for your geographic farm. That may be for your children's school. That may be for the direct mail are for people that you do not know. Okay, that's who you want to do that with. So I would say that for you all just starting out, the most important two are the top two. 12 direct, in most cases, is going to cost you money. Y'all don't have money yet, so I would stay away from farming for a little bit. Now, if you've got a wealthy husband and you can, you've got the money to do that, farming is a beautiful idea. But I would just be cognizant of spending money starting out.
When you guys say touches, can you give us some examples of touches? Is that on one of the slides?
Next slide. All right. Okay, elements of a campaign. So, we're going to talk about all these different touches. So, personal visits. I try to meet at least 2 people for coffee every week. Coffee or lunch. Usually, but it's usually coffee. I like coffee meetings because I can keep the time. Again, here comes my not so high eye touchy-feely part coming out. I don't want to spend a lot of time.
It's okay. It be like that sometimes.
So but I do like to connect with people. I am much better face-to-face than picking up a phone and calling. Mm-hmm. So I do try to meet with people. I have in BNI, they call it a one-to-one. I have one-to-ones with all my BNI peeps all the time. I'm now into this new networking group, the TIP networking group, and so I've been trying to meet. I had a meeting yesterday, and I've got another one tomorrow from that networking group, and then I've got 2 more next week. You have to be careful because you don't want to get too many of them on the books. Because there's other stuff you got to do. But personal visits in my opinion, that is the number one way to touch somebody. Because you're much better face to face in most cases than you are even on a phone call. But you see how high up on the list phone calls are. Yeah.
I just want to show you guys an example. I told you I work at a gym, and I do a fitness class, and so since I'm in this Ignite, I can't work during week. So I went on Saturday morning at like a 7 a.m. class just to take class, and I knew that there was a woman there that was thinking about putting her house on the market because I overheard her a couple weeks ago, and she works the front desk for me when I teach. So I went in, she's a new grandmother to a daughter, to a girl. I went in there with some really nice hand-me-downs that I had, like J. Crew and like nice, and I was like, hey, I remember that you just had a granddaughter and I wanted to bring these to you. And she's like, stop, she was so touched that I had done that. And then she's like, why aren't you teaching? And I was like, did you hear? I'm in real estate now. And she was like, stop it. I was like, so if you know anybody, she's like, my house. And I was like, no. She's like, my house, and I want to buy. So now I've got her. She's going to list. She's got like an $800,000 home, like near Haynes Bridge, and then she wants to buy near Avalon. So she would be my first one, and that was like just a personal. I just went in there with the clothes. I just knew that the clothes would seal the deal.
Yeah.
I just remembered something about her that wasn't business-like. I tried to approach it.
And it's good to always approach something from a personal level if you can. That's why you kind of want to find out what their hobbies are,
Their kids.
because you do, and find out about the kids and the pets and the, one of the best things that I did, hold on, I'll tell you that story when we get down to items of value, but yeah, it's that was a beautiful thing, and that is face to face, it's genuine, it's not picking up it's not a voice, it's, they can see you, they see your essence.
I was just trying to think of something else besides something around it that I could just bring it in rather than, like you said,
Right.
Let's meet for coffee, let me tell you what I'm doing.
Well, and
And
I
that's great,
always, now, Lori, well, let me say this. When I ask somebody to meet for coffee, it's like, catch up,
Right.
want to find out about your business, how can I help you in your business, how are things going, and a lot of times for me, coffee is a glass of wine at the end of the day. Maybe just be like, oh, let's just meet and have a glass of wine. I haven't talked to you in so long. And, it's like, I keep it social.
Yeah.
Social is good. So pop-bys. Pop-bys are something that I don't do, but I know some agents who do them very successfully. I have a girlfriend that's one of those touchy-feely, huggy people. And she's very into cooking. And so she at some point, I guess she was in Costco, and she found these little baby bottles of olive oil and some really pretty dish towels. And she took the olive oil, she folded up the dish towel real nice, and then put a little olive oil on top of it, and then tied it with ribbon, and then put some little catchy note on there, and I don't remember the note. If you guys look for pop buys online, you actually Google that, the ideas that you come up with are crazy.
Pop buys.
Oh, I love
So
good
what is
pop
it?
buys.
You just drop stuff off to people?
Yeah, you put it at their front door, in your mailbox. Again, these are people that you want to spend money on.
Right.
So all this stuff costs
They're
you
not
money.
expecting someone to be thinking about them.
Or like at Girl Scout cookie time, there's all kinds of, and you always put a cute little note on there that says, I don't know, see, I'm not good with this stuff.
I'm great with this.
There's, I don't know, Thin Mints. It'll the little catchy saying that's in there will have Thin Mint in it, what are some of those Girl Scout cookies called? There's one that's
Samoas.
tag-alongs.
Tag along with me.
My mouth is watering.
I see. I'm so bad about that. But like another really good pop by is even like 4th of July. What about some little baby watermelons?
Oh, how
You
cute.
know,
You're
and drop
really good at this.
watermelons. Well, I'm good at the ideas. But if you Google Popeye, you will find, because it's a Brian Buffini thing. You guys know who Brian Buffini is? He's
I
a,
bet if you Pinterest it.
I was gonna say that, just go
yeah,
on
Pinterest it, you'll find it. And there's, you know, it's always about the saying that goes with the little gift. It doesn't have to be super expensive. I remember one year when I was actually trying to do this. I got together about, I don't know, probably about 5 kids, and I bought those little miniature pumpkins,
Oh, yeah.
and I had all the kids paint little jack-o'-lanterns on the pumpkins, and I used those for my Popeyes, and I had some little catchy thing on it, you know, this was painted by so-and-so, and but then I had my little saying, and, you know, so it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. But that's what a Popeye is. You literally, or you drop it at their office, or, you know, and just to say hi. I'm very weird about, like, I don't want people showing up at my door without letting me know they're gonna show up at my door. You know? So like, I don't want to ring the doorbell and wait for them and they answer in their, you know, bathrobe. They're not gonna be real happy about that. So it's something that I usually can either leave on the front door or put in their mailbox, or, you know, or like I know that there's agents in here that at Thanksgiving they'll order 100 pecan pies, and they will contact everybody in their database and says, I have a pecan pie or a pumpkin pie that I want to drop by to you. I will drop it at such and such day, you know, between these hours. Please let me know if this doesn't work for you. So, you know, that's the way that they do their Popeyes. So there's lots of different ideas, and again, Google it, you'll find it. Phone calls. I always have a script when I do call. I usually am trying to, I want to offer them something that is worth it to them. I mean, an item of value, and we're going to talk about that right now. Phone calls. Right now, your guys' phone call is going to be, I'm trying to, you know, going into real estate, super excited, and I want to, I'm trying to gather all the information. And so that should be a good phone call for you. And you guys, basically what I'm doing is I'm tying together phone calls and items of value, because I don't want to just call and say, hey, just wanted to remind you, you know, I'm here. I might, there's scripts like, now this is a script that I'm actually about to start trying to use, because I went to a class the other day and I liked this. Who do you know? Who do you know that, I mean, you could do a couple different, who do you know that is, you know, pregnant or is going through some sort of life change, you know, that might be able to use my services? There's, again, you're going to learn all kinds of scripts for phone calls. One of the ones that I use a lot, and it's been very, all right, oh, here we go. Oh no, what happened? Okay, I had a whole, all right, sorry about that. Well, there's that. Come back to that in a minute. This is why I was asking you all. This is why I was asking you all who had been through FMLS training.
Yeah.
All right, so
Did you guys do the FMLS training here or through?
All you have to do is go on the
FMLS.
website, go on the FMLS, look at the free,
Training.
the training is free, and schedule it.
You go to training and
They
then
usually do
Classes.
it over there on Roswell Road.
Find a class.
Yeah.
I just did one, was it yesterday? The basic.
Yeah,
It
the
was
basic
great.
basic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's super knowledgeable.
which one did you do?
I did the basic, matrix.
Matrix Basic.
I'm going back to do the Georgia MLS because I really don't. That one's a little bit more.
And I'm also
Different.
doing, here I'll tell you. Chanel.
So, did you guys do portals?
Yes.
All right. So, remember what I said that, and this is a beautiful touch. And the reason it's a good touch is that this thing is automated.
Mm-hmm.
So these touches go out without me touching it, which is lovely. So
Automatic.
it's an automatic thing. It keeps them up to date on what's going on in the neighborhood. Now, I'm about to list a home in Academy Park. And
Are you? That's where I'm looking.
for,
For this woman, she wants to move to Academy.
I'm about to do Master on Main, good for grandmothers.
That she's a grandmother. Okay, we'll talk.
So I'm about to list a townhome there. And so I'm trying to keep her up to date on what's going on in Academy Park. So I set this portal up for her. Now, and so if you guys, I don't know if you remember the way this works, but like here is, so here they are in the neighborhood. So see how I pop over that one and this one, that one down there lights up? That's it. They can go in here, they can look at pictures. They can go down here and look at all the, see the map of where it is. They can look at all the specifics on it, on this thing. So imagine this. You call somebody, you get the information for them, and you get the information for the database, and then you say, oh, by the way, I have a really great tool that will keep you abreast of what's going on in your neighborhood. I can set you up with a website that's specifically for your neighborhood so that when something comes on the market or sells, you'll be notified of it automatically. So they get an email. I'll show you the email.
Class, I'll call you back during my break.
So they get an email. Let's see here. Here's the email for this thing. They get an email that's got, and I had sent this to myself, that's why I was, and then they go, so they get an email from me in their mailbox. They click to view the listing in the portal, and this comes up, and they get to see the listing. And they're kept abreast of what's going on in their neighborhood. Everybody wants to be kept abreast of what's going on in the neighborhood. So it's a lovely touch. We're talking about the 33 touch, and remember I was saying to you all, this is what, at first I was like, going, 30, that's a lot. I don't want to bother them that much. Well, I set this thing up a month ago. I think you have to be careful because some of them, you may want to set it up if it's a huge neighborhood, then you just set it up to like go out to them like once every 2 weeks or, once a week or whatever, once a month, whatever they want. And you can ask them that if it's a big neighborhood. Bonnie, because I wanted to keep her abreast of what was going on, she gets it every day. It scans at night, and when they get up in the morning, they have an email. So think about it. I send out 12 newsletters a year, 12 email newsletters. I send out 12 postcards, that's 24. when I'm being good, I'm making 4 phone calls. So now we're up to 28. I, send a birthday text, and usually I'll send a couple different holiday cards and, and all of that. Now all of a sudden I'm up to probably about 31, 32, and then you got this going out. You're at 33 plus at that point, and it's not intrusive because it's coming in a lot of different formats. So this is a beautiful thing. Okay, I highly recommend setting your, and I think it's a great way to end your very first phone call to people. And you have to, obviously you're gonna have to learn how to set it up, but it's, and then when they click into it, there's my little picture, it's got my contact information on it, and it says, it usually says, I think usually it has their name over here. Right now it knows I'm an agent, so it's got this portal for Mia Hanna, but here it has their name, and it'll, so it'll say Bonnie's portal. So this is a huge tool, and I do not understand why most agents don't do this. It's crazy not to do this. It's easy, and it's free.
I just did it yesterday, yeah.
Free is good.
And one of the things I love about the portal is that you can see what they went into and what they looked at.
Right, so when I plug in the matrix,
That's hard though, because you're like, how can they contact me? She's already looked at it.
I mean, you
Well,
can even see at what time.
I
So
know.
if they're looking at stuff at like 3 in the morning, okay, this is a night owl,
see, look at this. So here's some people that have looked at stuff recently. So, this is, they looked at this today. This lady looked at it yesterday. Oh my God, she's still looking at that thing. So anyway, it's a great tool. All right, now, I'll tell you, here's something, another item of value that I do, and again, remember, it's because this is the analytical side of me coming out, okay? Let's say, let's do this, matrix portal, wait a minute, go back to this, listings and matrix. All right. So, let's say that I want to send them something through the mail, and this can be, this is something that if you don't have to ask their permission to send this. A lot of people would send this over email. I like to print this thing out and write a personal note on it, okay? It can be in addition to, at the end of, now remember we're talking about this 8x8 touch. So you're calling them, you're asking them for that information, touch number 1. Then you set them up on the portal, touch number 2. Because they're going to get an email that they have to click on to begin the automated part of that portal. And you always want to remind them of that. They have to click on the link or it's not going to start. Then you can print out a CMA, and I call this numbers at a glance. You can print out a CMA of everything that's on that portal so that they can see the numbers at a glance. They can see the numbers. See this button down here, quick CMA? Check this out.
Nice.
There's the CMA for their neighborhood.
Comparables.
Comparative market analysis. So you print that out, front and back, and then I would write a little note on here. I might circle one and say, like I know Bonnie's is going to be, it's like these 2 down here at the bottom. It's one of the bigger units. So I would circle the ones that mean something more to her, and send that to her. Oh, why doesn't it go pending? So it's really, I think it's a great tool. Then they get something in the mail. So you picked up the phone, you've emailed, and now you're sending them something in the mail.
Can help with the decision-making process.
Yeah, and it's, again, we're talking about ways just to stay in touch with people, to stay top of mind, okay? So, any questions about this? See, to me, this is one of the best items of value we got, because this is very specific to the person that you're in touch with. Another thing that Portal has got, not the Portal, Matrix has got that I absolutely love. This market stats down here. Let's say that you've got somebody that lives in, have you all seen this? I'm not going to get into how to use this because it's kind of, you have to play around with it to learn it. But let's say that you've got somebody that's in North Fulton County. So I'm going to put in Alpharetta. I'm going to put in Roswell. This is always a shocker when I do this one. I'm going to do Milton.
Wow. You know what? She didn't, I don't remember her going through this in my class.
This isn't basic.
That's
Yeah.
what I was just
Yeah.
asking her. Is this all basics?
No, there's an advanced matrix.
No, but I'm going to
okay.
show you guys, this is impressive stuff right here. Okay, so I'm going to
I
show
signed
you,
up for it.
and I'll show you something. I did some of this in my newsletter.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so let's say that you've got somebody that lives in North Fulton, all right? I always use the bar one.
You can print these out too?
You can print them out.
Wow.
You can print it out. You can, so this is median price point. Let's do average. Now, is that crazy or what? Look at the difference in Milton and all these
I
other
mean,
ones.
it's impressive.
I know. So you can print it, and it'll print it in PDF format. It's got your contact information up at the top.
Email it
Right?
to the buyer.
Yep.
So,
You can put it into social media and email. So you can put this
Really?
link into a Facebook post.
really? I'm gonna do that today.
And then you can do static so that it continuously updates. I've got a friend that's she does a lot of renovations. She's always interested in Cobb County stuff. And so I sent her one of these, and I sent it with the yeah, I did the social media. This is not- There we go.
Okay.
So I did it embed in your blog or website, social media and email, but you can do it live.
Wow.
So right now it's got the June average sales price. Tomorrow, no, wait a minute.
So you,
Yeah, so tomorrow it'll probably have July average sales price. And I don't have to do a new link because I've got live, not static.
So you went to Matrix and then you went to Stats.
I went to Matrix, I went down to Market Stats.
Okay.
And that's where that comes up. And you're gonna have to play around with it.
Okay.
But this is something, again, you can print it out if you want to use the ink. That's a lot of ink to use, okay? Or you can embed it into an email. You can embed it into your newsletter. You can embed it into social media. You know, there's a lot of different ways to do it. A lot of times I'll do it by county when I'm in my newsletter because, people are in all these different counties, and so I'll use counties. So anyway, that's just another one that I wanted to, again, this isn't an FMLS class, but I wanted to show you all different things that you could do with FMLS that because you're real estate, it's an important thing. I just think it's a good way to check this out. I have all my little pop lines right here. Okay. So items of value, I'm kind of skipping around on my slides here. So that was market stats, the CMA we talked about, local points of interest. My postcards that I have going out, and again, you all, you can do this on postcards, you can do it in your newsletter. You can do it on Facebook posts. I brought some of these. I just was going to show you. Let's see, local points of interest. I have a lot of line 2 cards in mine. Shocker. So I've got these 3 postcards here. This is one that I sent out in October. North Georgia, apples and pumpkins.
Cute.
Okay, so they knew where, to go to the pumpkin patches and get apples.
See, I love that.
And then on the back side it says, enjoy the beauty and fun of this season. Thank you for your referrals of friends and family that are moving this fall. Here's one on Georgia wineries and vineyards. On the back. Experience is an important factor to consider when choosing a real estate professional. It can determine whether your home sells in the time frame you require. As an informed and experienced agent, I can assure you that I take the time and effort to stay current on market trends and values. If I may be of help to you in exploring your options, please give me a call. Here's one. I sent this out in the dead of winter when nobody really wants to be outside. Museums in and around Metro Atlanta.
These are all your little ideas? These are amazing.
Well, these are actually postcards that I get from a company called eTouch Marketing.
I love that.
And she has a newsletter too, by the way. But I have her do these.
That's great. Is she local?
She is local. Her name is Sam Underwood.
Sam Underwood?
Sam Underwood. And I can give you her information at the end of class. But these are, so I send these out and I always send one to myself. I don't touch this, you guys. This is not something I touch. What I do with it is I send one to myself, and then when I am sitting down for the month trying to figure out what all my posts are going to be on social media, I'll come and I'll pull some of this off of here. I might put, one post for a museum and one post for a place to go look at pumpkins, and then one of the vineyards or a couple of the vineyards. The other thing that I've got up there is a calendar of events. This is probably the most popular postcard I have. I walk in to people's houses and these are on refrigerators. Spring festivals and summer festivals.
The best. I
Okay.
mean, that's
They
genuine
love
information
this
that
stuff.
you want to know.
Yeah, and so this is the April and May festivals, and I mean, it's got beer festival, food and truck festival, chicken wing festival, spring festival, Atlanta Dogwood Festival. I mean, it's got the whole list of stuff on there. I also find the website for these things, and it's got the website, I don't know, it doesn't. But I'll find the website for this, and I'll put 2 or 3 things on there. I usually try to do it on a Thursday or Friday before the weekend. I time it so that it's that, and I'll pull a couple of these off of here. I also use them in my newsletter. So there's all kinds of things you can do. You're the local expert. Another thing that I've got. And then I've also done stats on postcards. This is a little bit trickier to do, but I have done postcards with stats on it. I actually have 2 of those that I've done before. And then, and you guys at the end, you're welcome to come up here and look at this. Here was one that went out this year for 4th of July. It was all the different fireworks in Atlanta, and on the back it says, "Have a fun and spectacular 4th. Let me know if I may be of help to you or a friend this summer."
That's great.
And it's all the fireworks. And again, I used a lot of this in my social media.
Yeah.
Okay? Here's a postcard that I did. Don't forget to fall back 1 hour. I have done, here's the United 2018. I've done the United, thing. I've done, actually the one that went out this month was football.
Those are great for your reloads too. Everybody
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah. I mean, most people that I've recently done business with go on to this. Now, I limit mine. I limit it to 100. This is money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's $1.80 a pop.
Ooh.
If you can find, yeah, it's, you know, that's including postage and all of that, but it's expensive. So can you find ways to do it less expensive? Yeah, you can create your own, but now you're talking time. You need to spend your time lead generating, not marketing.
For sure.
There's a difference,
Yeah.
okay? Popeyes we talked about, Girl Scout cookies, watermelons, pies, holiday ideas. Preferred vendor list. I know you guys don't have a lot of vendors yet because you're new to it. Remember all these people in the back here? They're all vendors that are preferred vendors for the Atlanta Perimeter office. Now let me show you what I've done with mine. This is a really important, in my opinion, this is important. This is an old one. I haven't updated this. Here is my trusted home service professionals.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And I've got a list of all of the, and I've got property management, roofing. I just did something here. Man. Window and chandelier cleaning, water restoration, insurance, house cleaning, handyman, moving, gutter cleaning. Most of these people are in my B&I group. Or actually, I shouldn't say most of them, a lot of them are. Air conditioning, you know, all these different companies. And every once in a while, I'll put a link to this in my newsletter. It's always one of the most clicked on links I've got.
For sure.
Okay? It's also something that you could put on your website. It's also something that you can put in your email signature at the bottom of your email that says, are you looking for a home service professional? Contact me for my list of preferred vendors. Anytime you can get them to reach out to you, it's a beautiful thing. Because it's a touch that they're initiating. And then, how you doing? Oh, by the way, do you know anybody who's, you know, whatever you decide you want your script to be around that. So, but this is my list. Any questions about that?
Did you create that all yourself?
I did. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Don't get all.
It's beautiful.
I know.
I love how she's so happy about this. Yes.
It's 15 years, you guys, remember. It took me
It
a
took a
long
while.
time to put this together.
We are impressed,
Well, thank you.
to say the least. I am.
And then, all right, preferred homestead exemption forms. Homestead exemption is very important. You always want to remind people about homestead exemption. Here is my homestead exemption. So, you guys notice something. I'm very consistent in my branding.
That's beautiful.
Okay? These are all live links. This is great. That is a live link. That goes to Bartow County.
That's awesome.
Okay?
Wow.
So, I don't know where that form just went. Oh, here we
And you pay someone to do this? Like, what information, how did you get that information?
I don't know where this
The
thing just
list.
went.
Or you made it yourself?
I made it myself.
You just added the link?
I just added the link.
Oh.
I mean, it takes a minute,
Yeah.
but now I've got it.
Yeah.
I haven't changed it.
Mhm.
I do go in about at least once a year, and I should do it every 6 months, make sure all those links are still working
Yeah.
and taking them to the right place. And every once in a while, I'll find out that a link is not linking. But so instead of saying Cobb County, looking the link up, having to send it to them, I send them this and say, you know, your county's in here, click on that and it'll take you directly to it.
Do you have your own landing page or your own page for?
My own website,
Yeah.
I do. My website, oh, that was one of those things that I had up here, and it's Homes by Mia. And again, I'm staying very consistent. I actually purchased that picture, and I use that in all of my marketing. This is my buyer folder and my seller folder. Again, systems, consistency, organization. I've got my logo on everything. I've got that M is kind of like my trademark. I have note cards that I had made up. It's just got my logo on the front and on the back. On the back, it's the highest compliment I can receive is a referral of your friends, family, and business associates. Thank you for your trust. With my name on the back. I will say that if I were you, if you're going to do this, I would do those. I bought so many of them that I'll have enough for like years. But I would do the ones that you don't fold. I like those ones that are just, they're single panel. I just think that's more contemporary, a little bit more, with it now, I kind of like that. But if you go to, and this, by the way, is the Playster. I mean, this is the Keller Williams website. I just had the front page changed to fit my logo,
So you made this website through the Keller Williams thing.
This is Playster.
Yeah.
And this was a company, your website is Playster, all right? So you don't need to write that down. You are going to need to stand in. You guys do need to attend Scott Hardy's class on getting your website stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? It won't have this look. I had this personalized. I paid money for this.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
saying.
it's going away.
Playster?
October 1.
Yeah, it is.
It's what?
Playster's going away.
For
Yeah.
Command, everything's going towards Command, right?
So Playster's going away, and they're saying you're either going to have to purchase it, or you can, move your content, save your content and move it.
All right. I had not heard that yet.
I read it yesterday. It was an email that came through giving us notification for it.
I saw that. No, I didn't read it though, but yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. When did the email, where did it come from?
Matt from Playster.
From Playster, yeah, directly from.
Here is a copy of it if you
Can
want.
I get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens when you've got.
Do you want us to forward it to you?
Yeah,
Have it open.
it's from Playster?
Yeah, it's from
Matt
Matt from
Barba?
Playster.
Matt who?
Barba, BARBA,
I didn't
at
get it.
Playster.com.
Yeah.
Actually
Came down
hired
at
to keep the
11:38.
Playster website.
I don't see it. Can you forward it to me?
Yeah.
Mia, MIA, at homesbymia.com.
So what do you say in the email?
What's your email? I'll send it to you.
It's Eliza, ELIZA, Harcrow,
I
wonder why I didn't. get that email.
HARCO.
CROW, Harcrow, at KW.com. Thank you.
That really, it irritates me because I'm one of the ones that pay.
I think if you pay, then I think it's saying that if you pay, then it's
You're
not
gonna
going to
keep it, right.
change. But if for those of us who don't pay, we
don't
either
pay.
need to start to pay or we need to figure something else out.
Well, I haven't paid for my website.
Oh well.
I had to pay for that front page to be done.
Fine.
Well, then you can pay to keep it.
They're just adding crap like Netflix when they want to add more fees. You can keep it or not.
Yeah.
Who's adding more fees?
But no, I got an email yesterday right before the Playster one that was talking about Command, how everything was getting integrated, and that Playster was going away. And then I got the email from Playster saying, hey, by the way, by this date we're not going to be available to you unless you pay these fees. So they're just trying to have everything as a one-stop shop for us as agents through Command,
I didn't get that
including the
either.
website.
I didn't either.
Will you send that to me? Who was that from?
The first one was from Command, right?
Through
I gotta go make a phone call.
I'm sure.
Let me find it.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, KWRI Technology, breaking news. New agent websites are on their way.
Lovely. KWRI, see, I got nothing.
I just sent it. Did you guys all get that? I did that.
You know why? That's going into my,
Spam.
that one went into my spam.
Oh, I have
Okay.
that in my
But
spam.
you just resent it to me?
I did. Oh, you need me to send it again?
Yeah, go ahead and send it to me anyway, because that'll have it at the top of my mailbox. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry to get off base here, you guys. All right, but again, my point was that I try to stay consistent, and I've stayed consistent. I had this logo. I had it designed my first 6 months in the business, and I continued to use it. And there was a while where I really was very unhappy with it, because when Keller Williams came out with their, they came out with this more contemporary logo. This looks horrible with this contemporary logo. But I found a way to deal with it. I separated it. I separated the two. So it really helped. So anyway, all right. Thank you for sending that to me.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's get back here, get back on track. Interesting articles. Again, the example that I used earlier was, you're from a gym, you're a personal trainer. You find an article on home gyms, print it off or email it, write a personal note on it, and send it to them. You find one, somebody that just bought in a specific neighborhood, and you get something from the Atlanta Business Chronicle that a new, Whole Foods is going in around the corner. Print it off, write a personal note on it, send it over to them. Somebody that knows a lot of people that are, might reload to Atlanta. And you find an article about how great Atlanta is, send a note to them. So, interesting articles are just a good way to do that. Do you need to go?
Yeah.
Oh.
In a minute.
Okay.
I just wanted to wait. I just wanted to wait a little bit so I could,
Okay, are you coming back or are you?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Oh, you just want to go? We can take a break.
Yeah, I needed a break.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I need to use the
I'll
restroom and
keep
stuff, but I
going.
feel like so much, I might miss something.
No, let's take a break. Why don't you take about, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes.
Okay,
Keep it
thank you.
anyway.
Sorry, because I was like, oh my God,
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I'm
I
gonna
don't-
miss something.
I get up here and I don't pay attention, so.
Thank you. I just need to run to the store car and make a phone call.
And you all are welcome to come up here and take a look at this stuff that I've got.
I would love to actually.
These folders are not complete folders, because I print out a bunch of stuff as I'm doing it.
Whenever you get the cards, the flyer things sent out, do you tell her what you want it to be about and send her the information, or she does everything on her?
She does everything automatic.
Super cool.
This is just so pretty.
Well, and I took a lot of stuff that Keller Williams had, and I just changed the color so that it matched my colors.
That's so nice.
And put it on and then of course I changed the verbiage so that it sounds like me. A lot of that is front and back, by the way.
So it's like in different cities. That was my question, because I have like people from all over,
Right.
like Marietta, Suwannee,
Right.
like everywhere. So
Right.
This is cool.
That really irritates me about it's registry.
How much was it to personalize that website?
Well, I did it before. I was one of the very first people to do it. So for me, it was only like $650, but I know that after they got up and running, it like bumped up to like $1,200-1,500.
Yeah.
Do you have I'm just curious, do you have someone that you work directly with at College Hunks? Do you know a guy there?
Uh-huh. I know the owner.
The owner?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's from Tampa.
Roger? Oh, well, wait a minute. There's a couple different franchises.
Oh.
I know Roger Payne.
Is he in your group?
Yeah.
I used a guy named Brian, and he was from, he was really nice.
Do you have more of these? Kind of want to take one. Do you have more of these?
Take a picture
I
of
gotta
it.
take
I'll
a
take a picture
of it.
Yeah,
Take a picture
take
of it.
picture of it.
Have you done the wineries in Georgia?
I've done a couple, not all, but I didn't know there were so many. I've done the Monteluce, which you don't have it here. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite. And
Me
then
too.
the Chateau on. I mean, it's nice, but the wine is.
The wines are
blue.
Nice.
Mia, you have Homes by Mia Incorporated then? Is it something, I don't know if that's something we'll learn along the way, but to have a business piece that's actually incorporated, is that something that is encouraged through Keller Williams?
It's not encouraged. I will encourage you to do it, because financially speaking, you've got a lot more, you can write off a lot more.
Gotcha. Okay.
When you incorporate, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. This is another thing that I'll talk a little bit about. This is, so this is send-out cards, which is another thing that I use. So these are cards that I've created on send-out cards that I've sent to a lot of my clients, like this was my Valentine's card.
How cute.
Was
it you?
That's me.
Stunning. That is so
Yeah,
cute.
I just stood in front of a black and white polka dotted piece of fabric and I put a red wig on.
No way.
I did. I put a red wig on and then I had that app on my phone.
Uh-huh.
And I went,
cool.
I was like, oh, wow. So I did that and I just thought that was cool. So this was my 2018. I went to France and I had found this cool
Oh my gosh, how cool.
I found this really cool
That's her.
postcard. And then I had a picture that my head was just exactly the right way. I was dancing with my niece and my hair was going up.
Oh.
So I had somebody Photoshop that on there.
No way.
I did. But this is, so like this is my, let's see, this was, where's one of them's got my logo on it, the back of it. Oh, maybe I didn't put that in here. So this was my 2019 holiday card.
Oh, how cute.
This was my, oh, here we go. This was my Thanksgiving card one year, and you can put your logo on it. You can do all kinds of stuff. So if you all are interested in send-out cards, which I love send-out
I do
cards.
too. I like getting them too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like
If
those.
you're interested in that, let me know, because that is an MLM, and I can stick you under my umbrella.
Okay.
And I can show you how to use it. But anyway, those are just some other kind of ideas that I took out there.
That's awesome.
Cold call asking them to sell their house through a card.
Huh?
That's super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've done that before. That was, and that's just my way of saying if you're interested in a specific neighborhood, I'll go to that degree. So
And
that's
you
like-
send it out to everyone in that neighborhood then? Okay.
Well, to the ones that obviously haven't bought or haven't, been bought recently,
Okay.
or that, if they specifically want one without a basement, I'm only gonna send it to those. I mean, I try to figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is nice. Stacy wasn't lying about it being beautiful.
Oh,
She's like, I'm telling you, her stuff. is beautiful. Wait till you guys see this stuff. And how beautiful can real estate stuff be? Until we see all of this. It looks amazing.
Well, and again, what you guys have to remember is that is, most of this stuff is things that I've taken from Keller. You've got access to all of it.
Yeah.
All I did was I created my own colors,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then I did change a lot of the verbiage to match the way that I talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Well, good. I'm glad. That's what I want for any class I teach to be.
Amazing.
The other two lenders that you have on here, aside from Certainty Loans, are either of them in your BNI group?
One of them is.
And then the
yes.
other one, why did you choose that last loan people?
Because I've known her
Okay.
for, wait a minute, which one? Let's see, I just updated, yeah.
I have a great
I
lender
knew
too.
her, and I like having a female in there.
Okay. I have a great
These are
lender
some
too.
people that are-
If y'all need one, another one.
Mhm.
He's a friend of mine and I've done 3 deals with him, he's great.
My husband's a lender too.
Huh?
Additional costs to consider before buying a new home.
Yeah.
Those are things most people don't think about.
Who's he work for?
Awesome.
Cross country mortgage.
Yeah, that is a big deal, that website thing. God almighty. I'm really glad I was about to do a huge update on my website. I'm glad I haven't done it yet.
So, it says to attend the next Scott Hardy Playster training. Where would we find that on the?
On the intranet, on, you know that email you get every day?
No, I don't get an email every day.
We might want to wait until we get better clarification from Stacy if they're discontinuing our
If they're doing Playster,
relationship
yeah,
with
then it's
Playster, then
probably.
there's no need to go to that.
So if I'm just not getting emails every day, who should I talk to?
Did you check your spam?
I did, there's nothing in there.
Diane or
Diane,
Stacy.
okay.
All right, let's see here. This is something that I would recommend that you guys, here's a really good touch idea. You know, interest rates are fabulous
Yeah.
right now. You know, you could send your recommended lenders list out with a handwritten note on there that says, are you thinking about refinancing? Interest rates are crazy low. And just
yeah.
send them that, you know? Inspectors and lenders, you always want to send them 3.
Right.
So I am, because Eric is in my BNI group, I like to feed him stuff, which paid off because I just sold his $650,000 house in Buckhead.
Nice.
So, you know, I always want to send him stuff. So it's like, I usually I'll say, here's my recommended lenders, but why don't you just go ahead and call this one person first to get pre-qualified? That gives them a step up. Okay? Randy is great. Son is great. I'm not saying anything about that, but, you know, I've got, because of BNI, I've got kind of I'm real loyal to that group because they're loyal to me.
Yeah.
So notice I've got this on my recommended lenders. I've got it on for my recommended inspectors. Again, I point everybody towards Housemaster because that's who's in my BNI group, but I use all these other people. And then of course I've got the service professionals, and I don't feel like doing 3 days, but inspectors and lenders within a transaction can be a conflict of interest. It's kind of the division between church and state. You want to be real, you don't want to recommend a lender, one particular lender, and then they end up, screwing the whole deal up, or whatever. I mean, you don't, especially inspectors. It's even more important to me than inspectors. Because if they get pissed off at an inspector, which happens often, they didn't find this, they're in the house 6 months, and they didn't find it, and they always end up getting mad. So, always recommend 3. So I put 3, and I'll just say, this is who I use the most, but you're welcome to call 3 of these people, so I do that a lot. But inspectors and lenders are the ones that, if I'm sending them an email and saying, get a hold of Eric to get pre-qualified, and here's my list of 3 different lenders. Always do that. And I do the same thing.
Do they normally come with their own lender, or do you normally have to give them one?
No, they don't usually come with their own lender. When I teach the buyer class, one of the things that I tell everybody is, are you my buyer book or my seller book? Okay. In my buyer book, my buyer consultation, I've got a needs analysis. This is the consultation for that. I've got needs analysis, personal side introduction, and the buying process. That needs analysis, which that's not in here because that's something I send them on email. I send my needs analysis in email. I send my bio in email. I don't print out a ton of stuff. I mean, I've actually really pared down what I print out. A lot of stuff I send on email.
Oh, yeah.
But they do a needs analysis and they get pre-qualified before I will even sit down and do a buyer consultation with them. I'm not wasting my time
For sure.
if they're not qualified. And you'll get people that, I want to buy a house, I think we're going to look at the 350 range. And then you spend all this time getting ready for them to look in the 350 range, and then you find out they only qualify for 275. I mean, you can't do that. So, all right. So we're still waiting on her. Okay, that's fine. So, did you want to look at any of these postcards? Oh, you already did?
No, I do, but I don't want to
Okay.
interrupt the class.
Well, here, I can hand it to you.
Thank you. You said you didn't mind if you took a picture?
No.
Go ahead.
The only class that I teach that I'm kind of weird about people taking a bunch of pictures is my buyer consultation class, because I've spent a lot of time developing that system, and which is really kind of crazy because 99% of people aren't going to incorporate everything that I incorporate, but still,
So, Mia, when people like us who don't have like a huge, I should speak for myself, don't have a huge database of all these people, how are other agents, are they okay with sharing their contacts?
Yeah. Oh, contacts?
Inspectors, that sort of thing?
Yeah. The only one that you'll probably find people getting a little weird about are handymen,
Okay.
because they're hard to come by.
Right.
Which is why I use Trusted Toolbox, because they've got lots of handymen.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And there are several, I think Mr. Handyman's another one.
I have several, if you guys need
Yeah.
handyman.
Yeah. So, they'll do that, but that's why I said, you've got all these people back here
Yeah.
that, so start with that and then fill in as you go. You can go to
There's a list of vendors.
I have like my own
for lenders that,
where's that?
ask either Angel or Diane.
And there's also the Rawls Group Facebook page. If you go in there and you search handyman, all the posts will come up with everybody's hand. I mean, all
And I do actually have some really great handymen,
but they are like in Dunwoody. I'm just right here in Dunwoody. But if I want to expand it, you know, to North Fulton, that sort of thing, I just need, you know, other options.
Yeah. But yeah, they'll share,
Okay.
especially in this office. I mean,
Because like you said, if I go on a listing call next week, I don't have anything.
yeah. Okay, so we talked about articles, we talked about the local calendar of this, we talked about the portal, we talked about the KW app, which is the Kelly app now. We haven't talked about it, but there's not that much to talk about yet. So you're gonna wanna, that's gonna be another great touch for you when it's like ready to go. I just don't know when it's gonna be ready to go. So there's your items of value. Any questions about any of that? So the rest of this is just gonna kind of be ideas.
I had a question.
Uh-huh.
For the CMA, if you're like already in Salesforce or something like that, is there a way to use that to do those as opposed to Command?
Salesforce.
Yeah.
Is that, that's a CRM?
Mhm.
What you mean, oh, I'm sorry, to send what?
To do your touches, to be able to.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, it's a CRM, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, you could use that. I'm assuming that you got Salesforce through another position, correct?
Right.
So.
And all of the stuff is already there.
So
Transfer.
you probably need to put who you're gonna put for this database into, at least into a Excel spreadsheet. Because you're gonna have to put down real estate, you know? So.
And in transferring it to Command, I mean, your contacts still remain your contacts and not shared or.
Talk to Stacy about that. She's going to be better able to answer questions because I have not transferred over to Command yet. I'm waiting until they get up and kind of running to do it. You guys, since you're just starting out, I would start there. Getting your contacts in there. There really hasn't been a lot of usability in Command, but apparently we're about to start into the next phase of it. So I think it'll be better. Okay, so I showed you guys the neighborhood staying top of mind, the neighborhood website. We've talked about that. I'm going to come back and talk about my newsletters. I've shared my postcards with you. Social media. I talked about you know, how you can come up with different posts. I actually pulled most of my posts from my newsletter, but I'll show you that. Holiday cards, birthday, texts, calls. We talked about all of that. Okay. Isn't that fun? Hold on, let me come back. Okay. I'm going to show you guys 3 different newsletters so you can kind of get an idea of what I do, but not what I do because I want to sell you my newsletter. That's not why I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you because I got a lot of different ideas in here. So hopefully it'll get your creative juices going a little bit. By the way, when people open up the newsletter, they don't get all of that. They get, it's like this little, when they open up the newsletter, about this much of it shows. You really don't, I don't know why it shows up like this when I click on that link, but that's the whole background. They don't see all of that because that's way too much. They seriously, they get about that much of an outline on it. So this was one that I did in October, and I always have I talk kind of in summary what my newsletter is about. This is where I was talking to you all about, market snapshot. This went out in October, how your neighborhood is trending. I did average sales price, average days on market. The way that I do my newsletter is that I do, my first section is always on real estate. My second section is for the homeowner. The third section is for interior design. And the fourth section is our activities and events. Why do I do that? Every newsletter, I have those sections. There's something that appeals to everybody. Okay? So on this one, I did, average sales price, I don't know if I did a static. See, this one I just did PDFs. So I did this PDF. Oh, and see, this one is actually, I did static on this. So this is still showing, in June 2019. So they click on that link. Here's another one, number of homes sold. So had a lot of touches on it. A lot of people clicked on these things. My business is primarily in North Atlanta. So I did North Fulton, Alpharetta, Milton, Roswell, Johns Creek, and then I did Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, Peachtree Corners, and Brookhaven. And I did, average sales price, average days on market, number of homes sold. Had a lot of people click on that. My homeowner section was, I actually created, notice my branding, a PDF, fall maintenance checklist. I went out there and I found all the fall maintenance checklists that I could find online, and I made my own, And so I did that. Now what I'm doing, now this fall, I don't have to go recreate it. I've got it. Okay?
So you send the same thing every year?
I'm starting to do that, yeah. And I've also, for the people that I'm selling my newsletter to, I do an unbranded version of this. I don't have their logo up there. I've got it's just on this background, the logo's not up there. And I'll do it for, so I've got a PDF for everybody. But on mine, I'm sending out the branded version. Here, again, I've got my trusted home service professionals. Within this newsletter, that was the most clicked on piece. And my friend that writes this newsletter with me didn't want to do that because she wanted people to call her to do it. She didn't have near the click-through rate I had on mine. Click-through rate's important. Walter Reed's Georgia Gardner. This is something that I've got in every newsletter. The Georgia Gardner, and you wouldn't believe how many people very consistently get into my newsletter just to look at this. Then again, here's the interior design, fall decorating ideas, and I'm linking to articles. This is Style Blueprint, which I love Style Blueprint. Ways to decorate in the fall. This one was Perfect Pumpkin Decor. I don't remember some of this stuff. Again, I used Style Blueprint, and it was just this kind of the same kind of stuff, things to do with pumpkins. Fall spotlight leaves in your home decor. This one, I don't think this was one of my favorite design. The design block is the one that probably gets the most play. But these are kind of some cool ideas.
Yeah. And your newsletter, does it come already templated and you just drop in?
I use Constant Contact.
Okay.
And I create it every month. And again, remember that postcard, apples and pumpkins? Mm-hmm. Here's a guide to Georgia Apple Festival in Ellijay, 50 things to make with apples. I think this was from the Food Network. I curate articles, corn mazes in Georgia.
And when you come across a good article that you like, is it okay to share it in your newsletter, or is it kind of?
It is okay to share it in the newsletter, but again, I don't, this was a great article right here, Fall Leaf. This was like the best places to go to watch for leaves. There's a lot of good information here. Yeah, I always, it's good, you just can't claim it as your own. Notice that this was the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. This is Atlanta Traveler, Food Network, Architectural Digest, Style Blueprint. I don't claim this stuff. And I'll tell you something else I've started doing. Okay, let me close out some of these puppies. Is I've started, you gotta be really careful. I've actually started purchasing photographs. But when you use photographs, and you guys, you can get into some trouble if you don't give the right person credit.
Or say you have no ownership.
Yeah. So this is April 2019. This was one of the best open that I've had in a long time. I put the cost versus value report in here. Now here I did tours too. This was something this was one that I had, I was about to, actually I had just sold it, it was pending. I linked to the virtual tour. This was one that I actually had for sale that I just lowered the price. And this was one in Johns Creek that I had coming soon. So I linked where I could to the listing. And then, so I had that up in here. So notice all my little catchy things: embrace your space, enhance your space, romance your space, because it was space. Yeah. So, cost versus value report. So I had a link to Atlanta's cost versus value report. And this goes through, are you guys familiar with this?
No.
This is an awesome thing. It shows you like mid-range bathroom edition. If the job is going to cost about $46,000, whatever. So cost recouped. So what I want you to notice here are the ones that were the highest. I kind of went through here and looked at what was the highest in terms of cost versus value. This is for people that are thinking about renovating. It's a great discussion to have with people that are thinking, should I do this to sell my house? Or, should I buy a house or sell a house? It's a discussion that they're going to have with or without you. You would rather be of help to them even if they decide not to sell. You still want to be part of that. You want to help them as much as you can. Because they may decide not to sell, but their neighbor may decide to sell. So I went through here and I looked at, in the top 10 return on investment projects, they were outdoors. Manufactured stone veneer was 116% return on value. Garage door replacement was at 91% and deck additions were at 81%. So what did I do? I went out there and I found articles of, sorry, what here? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, they took that article down. Interesting. Huh. There was an article on before and afters. It was great. It was an awesome article. I don't know why they would have taken that down. Garage door replacement. So I linked to an article on overhead garage doors, some different garage doors. Deck addition, I showed some pictures of deck additions. So that was my real estate section. That cost versus value report is done by Remodeling, and it comes out in February, I think, of every year.
And this is all on your Keller Williams page, right? Or what is this?
This is my newsletter.
Okay.
This is a newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the real estate, Romance Your Home's Essence. I Okay, y'all, here's something you need to know about me. I've got this woo-woo thing going on. I'm into feng shui, I'm into scents and candles and all of that. So I actually put this in here because I wanted to see if I got any play on it, and I got play on it. So I did feng shui rules for every room, natural scents for your home, decluttering your entire home. I've actually been called the Zen Realtor. So I had a couple people call me that. So I wanted to see if I could play it out in my newsletter. Then I did, this was April, so people are starting to think about outdoor spaces. So my design element was patios, decks, and tree houses. And these are all articles that go to, you know, all of these different things. And like, they're different. That one was done by House Beautiful. I think maybe all of these I did by House Beautiful. Yeah, I did all of these by House Beautiful. And then again, down here, I've got my, you know, things to do. Best of April in Atlanta, the Atlanta Dogwood Festival, Spring Wine Fest, complete guide to Metro Atlanta's farmer markets. This one got a lot of play on it. This comes out at the beginning of every spring. And then there's my Walter Reeves. And then in celebration of Earth Day on April 22nd, 4 unique experience for tree huggers. So again, I'm just curating articles. I'm not really. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, this is my link, my email down here. Notice that I've got, this is the first thing, don't miss my July newsletter. And that's tax assessments to appeal or not. Huge play on this newsletter because of my subject line.
Oh, yeah. I would have
Okay.
been on that. Like,
Huh?
I would have been totally on that.
Yeah. So this is the newsletter. And again, it doesn't show up on this when you open it up in the newsletter. It doesn't show up like this at all. It's very little of that background. But I did, in here, I did back to school is just around the corner, and I was just, you know, here's all the different dates for when everybody's back to school.
Oh my God, can you look up Atlanta real quick?
Huh?
I was just saying yesterday, I was like, I need to get everything like situated before these kids get back to school.
Seriously? You know when the back to school is? What day? Who?
For
August 12th.
For where?
It's different for county. Sandy Springs. What is it?
Well, that would be Fulton County.
That's Folsom.
Monday, August 12th.
Okay, good. I got it. It is the 12th. Okay.
This was a very last minute thought. Notice that I've got new communities down here. I was talking about the website before. The newsletter month before, I talked a lot about millennials and what they were looking at in the market. And so this one I was trying to concentrate on what boomers were looking for. And so I found these communities, and these all link to videos. So Harlow Townhomes and Alpharetta. So it's just, they're all linking to cool little videos. And they're all short. All the videos were only like, this was the longest one right here, and it was actually also the most clicked on. At Horseshoe Bend, downtown Woodstock. This was another, they're all videos. So, anyway. But at the very last minute, I just started thinking about it. I was like going, oh my God, everybody's getting their tax assessment and they're really weirded out by it. Because a lot of people's tax assessments have gone way up. And so I put this blurb, property tax assessments have been mailed. Time is of the essence to appeal. If you are questioning your appraised value, do not hesitate to give me a call. I'm happy to prepare a quick comparative market analysis for your neighborhood if you think you might have a case for appeal. And here are 3 helpful resources.
That's amazing. Did you get a lot of
play?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
As did
that would have
Bill.
helped me.
I think Bill did too, and I think Becky Wynn. I do Becky Wynn's newsletter. I think they all got play on this. 2 methods to reduce your property tax bill. This got 2 method 1 and method 2. Yeah. And this is by Nolo. So this was just, different ways to do that. An excellent question regarding uniformity and appraised value. You guys, I went to one of my closing attorneys that I use, and I said, will you write a paragraph about, answering this question? Can I reduce my property tax bill by arguing the county's valuation of my property can I reduce my property tax bill by arguing the country's valuation of my property is less than the purchase price I paid for the property? Big question, a lot of people are asking it, so I had him answer that, and then I put, and this was that's a link back to their website, about people that will help. And then this was the other one, all Georgia tax assessors' contact information. And that just linked to, an alphabetical listing of how to get
That's wonderful.
So I did that. Practical homeowner, this was my homeowner section. What do you know about homeowners insurance? Surveys, home warranties. I talked about an app that I think is great for keeping track of your home inventory. And I just put the 2 links to get the app. Nobody clicked on that, but hey, you win some, you lose some. Creative homeowner. This was, I was surprised at the play this one got. Step by step on a guide to hanging art. That I think was done this was actually done by an art gallery, I think in San Diego. Techniques for lighting it, and then clever ways to arrange it.
Cool.
And so, really cool articles. This was fun. Artistic Alfresco Atlanta. So on the left side, I did art on the Atlanta Beltline, neighborhood guide to Atlanta's art galleries, and the Tiny Doors adventure map. And then on the right-hand side, I'm thinking it outdoors. And I did swimming holes, rooftop patios, 25 Southern events, and then of course my Walter Reeves calendar. So, and notice here how I'm giving, if I'm not pulling it from an article, I'm giving the photo courtesy of. So I pulled this one from one article and I pulled this one from another article. So anyway, so these are just some creative ideas for you guys that you could use. Again, Keller Williams through Command will be providing you all with, different, with a monthly newsletter. It's going to be national. I would urge you to consider if there's a way to do it, and I don't know if there's going to be or not. I would consider putting some local stuff in there. One of my big selling points about this newsletter is that it's all local. It's local to Atlanta, and if I've got an agent that I'm doing this for, and they want to pay me a little bit extra, I'll do it specific to if they're in Cobb County, I'll do it very specifically to Cobb County. That's, if there's a way for you to personalize it, you need to personalize it. Because I gotta tell you, what's awesome about this is that people, I hear it all the time, that mine is the only newsletter they look at. Because they know I'm gonna have pertinent local information versus Sotheby's or Prudential or any of these others, which is all national. And if they know 3 different Prudential agents, they're getting the same one. I personalize that intro letter. And I always put something personal in there, My father passed away last year, and he was a Vietnam vet. And again, because I'm not that touchy-feely girl, it was kind of a weird, I was hesitant to do it, but I have to tell you, I got the more play on this than anything that I'd ever done. I did the eulogy at my father's funeral, and within the eulogy was a story about his flight crew. The plane crashed, and he was the only survivor. And he had kept in touch with, actually, his co-pilot. Had died when she was 6 months old, and like 30 years later, she finds my dad. And my dad, I did not even know about this. I didn't find out about this until I was taking care of him. But my dad had kept in touch with her for like 18 years. And so it was just a really cool story about a Vietnam vet. So on Memorial Day, I put a link to my father's eulogy on there. I had it written out, and I did a link to that. And so I built my whole newsletter around Memorial Day and what it stood for. And then I put that link, so it was personal. On that Day of the Dead October newsletter that you guys saw with all the skulls. Yeah. I love Day of the Dead. That to me is a very cool holiday. And I celebrate it every year. And I do, one of the things that they do is they have an altar. You have an altar in your home, and you put the things, pictures of the people in your family or friends that have deceased, and the things that they love. They're like, my dad, I had a bottle of scotch on there, and his pipe, and just some things. And I took a picture. I did an article on the Day of the Dead, and then I took a picture of my altar and put that in there. Lots of clicks on that. So again, everybody does a newsletter, but it's up to you to make it personal, and to make it personal and relevant to your database. And that's something that I recommend that a lot of people do. Most people are not going to do it, but I recommend it highly.
So all the content in your newsletters, you do that yourself? Like you sit down and you find the links and you... Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but again, I'm selling it.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things that made me decide to sell it was that I've got like huge open rates. I've got big open rates and big click-through rates, which is what everybody wants to do. I mean, you want that, because guess what? My scripts come from my newsletter. These tax assessments, when I sent that out, I had people calling me, can I get a CMA for mine? Yeah, sure. And then I get into conversation with them, and then I catch up with them. If somebody didn't click on it and they had just bought, in the past year or two, I called them. I picked up the phone, and I don't know if you saw my newsletter, but there's a question in there about your valuation. And I want you to read that, or here, let's talk about this. There was one that the cost versus value. That my script that month, I called people and said, I have, and again, these are all you want to call with items or discussions of value. The most clicked on article I've had, in the last several months was this cost versus value report. Would you like for me to send you a PDF of that? I had a lot of people say yes, because for whatever reason they didn't open my newsletter, but they were interested in that report. Did I get anything out of that? I'm staying in relationship with these people. And I'm doing it by offering item of value, and I get that from my newsletter. And I encourage all the people that are using this, I encourage them to do the same thing. And whether they do it or not, I don't know. Probably not. But you can get newsletters less expensive than mine. Sam Underwood with eTouch Marketing, the one that I told you about that does my postcards. Her newsletter I think her newsletter's got like 3 or 4 articles in it, but she does one for you too, yes ma'am.
So do you send your newsletter out to everybody, like all your contacts, or just your A and B list?
No, that goes to everybody.
Everybody.
Remember, there's a 12 direct, which is your have not mets,
Oh.
but also can be your, you know, the 12 direct goes to my out of town, my have not mets, and then my C list.
Okay.
The A's and B's are the ones I spend money on. Those are the ones that get cards, postcards, you know, all of that. And then, but my newsletter goes to my entire database. And it's a lot of fun because you can watch, and you'll be able to do this in Command too. You can watch who's opening your newsletter and what article. There was a guy that I had not talked to in more years than I want to say. I'd sold him a house about 6 or 7 years ago. And guess what? He clicked on all those neighborhoods that I had in there. He clicked on every one of them. Guess what the first phone call I made was? Because if he was looking at those,
Thinking about selling again.
he's thinking about moving. So I, you know, again, you can use it as a really good tool. So that's 12 touches a year, y'all. So don't get too caught up in this in the beginning. Use the one that Keller Williams provides you. But my point is, use something. Do something. And so, does anybody have any questions? We got about 15, 20 minutes left. Any questions about anything? I know I've gone over this stuff ad nauseum probably.
You've done a wonderful job, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, why don't I go get Stacy, get her to get those evaluations in here and all of that, and we'll do that. And again, I've got these up here that you're welcome to look at.
Don't forget your postcards. Thank you so much.
You're awesome, by the way.
Thank you. I can't take credit for the postcards. I can take credit for the cards, but not the postcards. So, no questions about anything at all?
I'm sure questions will arise if you don't mind us contacting you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you have to
And
do
if you all want to come to one of those BNI,
Oh, yeah.
I do.
call me.
Yeah, I would love to.
Thank you.
Notice my logo's on the back.
Who did your cards?
I actually got this from, make sure you don't have two. So I think I just took them out of the
So you didn't
box.
have to do
What
the
I'm trying
red?
to do right now.
How did you?
No, because there's a gray Keller Williams logo.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do y'all want me to send you that?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like I just want to redo my business cards, but I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, no, and I didn't want to use the red. That was the one that was bugging me to
No,
death.
they
Because,
have,
yeah.
Oh, how did you get away with not using
Yes.
the red?
The Michael Lewis,
Yeah,
that's
did
where
you
I
use
got
that?
mine done.
Okay.
And it was good. They have a pretty decent
I still
selection.
That's
need to
where I
get-
did
Yeah.
mine.
I have like no picture of myself
50%
whatsoever.
of it has to be.
Stacy was like,
That lady that did I know this doesn't look like me because my hair's down, but looks more like me than that one up there. You want to get your picture taken about every 3 years.
Yeah, I just need to do it.
And that lady that does it here, I think her name is Elizabeth
Yeah,
Sherman.
she'll be
She's
fine.
awesome.
Okay, and I just have to check with Felicia on when she'll be here. Did you guys do it with her?
Jesus.
Oh, look at you.
Got these long arms for no reason.
That's beautiful.
I think I did mine about 2 years ago, so I've got one more year of playing on mine.
I definitely want to update them. It's fun.
But you don't want to be one of those agents that is like, God, how long did she take that picture?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I know there's some out there, girl.
I know. It was
It's
funny.
like, this does not look like you in real life. What is
When
that?
I wore my hair like that straight, that's the coral sweater. That's me.
That was
And I would
beautiful.
wear my hair straight. Well, my hair is actually as curly as yours is. It's extremely curly. And so in the summertime, I wouldn't fight it. In the summertime, I would, walk in with my hair all curly or back like this, but it was usually curly. And I would hand them a card with that picture on there. I go, okay, this is my winter hair, this is my summer hair.
I recognize that picture.
Huh?
I recognize that
You
picture
do?
from seeing it around.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
you know what I
okay.
mean?
Some
Yeah.
people look at it with a whole different person.
Yeah, it's, and I
Change
definitely don't.
hairstyles.
And now, as the older I get, the more cognizant of it. I'm younger, I know what I get. I got a lot more differences. And I'm one of these that it was like, when she was taking my picture, at first she starts out like, you look like you're 20 years younger.
Yeah.
And I said, no. I do not put those wrinkles back in. I said, but you can trim a little bit off of that. She made my arms slimmer, and I was okay with that part. So,
That happened with me
So-
and Bill. We were looking at houses when I was looking for a house, and I had this card from this realtor that we had like gone to an open house together, and I was like, look at our card. Is this who I'm talking to? And I was like, you need to be aware of this. You need to change your card. He's like, no, you're totally right. He's like, this is not even the same person we're looking at right now.
you said that to them?
To Bill.
Oh.
Bill and I were looking at open houses, and I was like, look at her card. Is this the same person? He's like, yeah. And I was like, it is not the same person. He's like, yeah, I gotta talk to Kathy about changing it.
And they did change it recently. Okay.
You're like a dating profile. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't you.
Catfish. I know, no kidding. It's funny, I hear about that from men all the time. They're talking about when they go get those valuations. Men will talk about that all the time about the women. They come in and they're 25 pounds heavier, and or a lot older or whatever. And so, not that I've done internet dating in 10 years, but I remember the last time I did it, I walked in and a guy had done that. He was so much older and so unattractive. I got so mad, I turned around and walked out. I was because it's
Like, you're a liar.
you know how I found him? I was like, oh God, where is this guy? He's so late, and I dialed, and sure enough, across the bar, there was this guy, and his phone rings, and it was him.
How do you even do that? I have too much pride. Like, I'm so embarrassed.
It really upset me.
Like, you just flat out just lied
Wasted
about
my
yourself.
You're like,
Here's the guy.
that's me. It's me 20 years ago.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Did
is so
everybody sign
funny.
in? It doesn't look like it.
No, I didn't.
When I meet people, if they give me
Oh,
their
you already
names,
got
I
yours.
stalk them beforehand, before I meet them.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, she was
I
saying that everybody had
didn't
to,
get
that somebody had to come in and get them. So I guess just put them back here, and you need to sign in. Somebody else didn't sign in. There's only 4. Okay.
I didn't then. It must have been the shelter. You did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope you guys learned. All right.
We don't have to write our names on it, right? No.
Do we leave
Yeah.
our cards in?
Do we? Does it matter?
Bless you.
School, AIUW, across the street here. Why I do that, I go drop the kids off at the centers.
Let me go get Diana to come turn this off. Yeah, y'all have to,
Yeah, I gotta hit on it.
you gotta wait 5 more minutes. And
Of course.
Did everybody do that? So I'm gonna hand them.
Oh, here's mine.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. I need to go get some coffee.
Did you say you had 4 children?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Lord have mercy. I don't even know how I do it sometimes. God.
Are you single parent?
Yes.
Oh,
But
bless you.
you know,
Too much, guys.
I get
I'm making them stay until 1 o'clock.